right, now we're ready for the next step. As I mentioned, the kit that you received, your sign, should have the cable mounts with the DAP Rapid Fuse glue and the pipe cleaners already attached to it, so that now you're ready to begin placing this on your wreath base. So when I choose where to place my wreath or my sign on my wreath, really I just I spin it around a little bit and I look at it to see, are there places that are more full than others? Is there some place that might have a little bit of like a peekaboo showing through that I'm unable to, for some reason, cover up? Are there tails that I don't like, specifically the way that they lay, that I don't mind covering up? Those types of things. So what imperfections do I have on my wreath that I don't mind covering up? If I can't find, or I don't find any imperfections, then it doesn't matter where I place it. Now, the placement of the sign and the bow is completely up to you. All right, so there are some people, let me turn this so that it's facing you, that will place their sign up at the, like if this was their clock, at 12 o'clock, and then their bow at 6 o'clock. There are other people who like to do them at like, what is this, 11 and 4? Or 2 and 7? Really, it depends on what it is that you want. There are some people who will even put them at like 6 and 9. Or 3 and 6, excuse me. So really, it just depends on where you'd like them to sit. For this wreath, I think I am going to set them, I always like my sign to be a little sideways, and I like my bow to be a little bit down and to the side. So that's going to be how I place it on this wreath. So I'm going to take the bow off for now, so that I can now take this pipe cleaner and fish it through the mesh. And it's okay to stick it actually through the mesh if necessary. But what I want to do is I want to look for one of these crossbars. This is really what I want to attach my sign to. So I'm going to feel for that with my sign. Okay, so I'm placing that on top, and then with my left hand I'm fishing the pipe cleaner through, and I'm looking for that cross wire, and I'm going to just kind of twist. Well, let me get them both through, and then I'll show you on the back. Since I don't have the bow on yet, I don't mind doing that. So again, I'm feeling for them on the back. Okay, so here I have my pipe cleaners, and they're right here next to these crossbars. And what I want to do is I want to pull this down pretty tightly. So I want my sign to be secure. And I'm doing this before I put the bow on so I don't smash the bow. And I really want to make sure that I'm pulling it tight enough that if the wreath moves, the sign doesn't move too much with it. And then once I think I've got it tight enough, I'm just going to really secure that to the base by taking this pipe cleaner and twisting it around, using that crossbar as my stabilizer. And here you have a choice to either wrap the rest of the pipe cleaner around or snip it off. It really depends on your preference. Okay, So now my sign is attached to my wreath. The disadvantage of turning my wreath upside down to do that is that it caused some of my tails to become flat and it kind of smushed them. So I'm going to go back through and pull these tails back out and make sure that they're not fully smushed. And place those where I want them to sit. Okay, and then I'm going to take my bow and do the same thing. When I made the bow, I made it so that you have twist ties to be able to pull through the wreath and attach to the base. So again, I'm going to look for one of those crossbars. That's what I'm feeling for. And I'm going to feed the two ends of the pipe cleaner through to the back. And then I'm going to wrap those two around that crossbar. Now when I do this, I don't necessarily want to pull my wreath in or my bow in so far that it pulls down like this. Right, now some people might like that look. The nice one thing it does do is it makes the loops definitely stand up. But if you release it a little bit, it allows those loops to be manipulated and really puffed up. So all I'm doing is taking my fingers and running them and spreading my fingers to make those loops puff out, right? And so I want my bow to have enough room for me to be able to spread its loops. So I'm not going to pull it all the way down as tight as I can into the wreath like I was doing with the sign. Okay, so I have to look for that crossbar again. I lost it in my demonstration of how not to pull on your wreath or your ribbon, your bow. And then I'm just going to tie it off. Okay. All right. So here is your finished beginner ruffle method wreath. I hope you enjoyed assembling this wreath as much as I enjoyed demonstrating to you how to assemble it. And if you like what you saw, please visit me at www.silverknewnothing.com. Like and follow me on Facebook or YouTube or other social media. Thank you again.